Alright, so I got really depressed because I was watching a video. I wasn't just watching a YouTube video in which, a bunch of people respond to one of these fucking abusive, predatory bastards on TikTok. It wasn't just the video, but it was also what I saw in the comment section that really, really depressed me. And what it was about was this fucking tool on TikTok was teaching men how to coerce women into sex, and it's a tactic that has actually worked before, unfortunately. Now, I recorded my thoughts on my phone because I felt like I wanted to talk to myself about this. But then there was something that I said that made me want to share it with all of you. And what I wanted to share was this. When you're caught in the depths of your own sickness, all you want to do is feed that sickness. Now, when it comes to men or anybody with masculine energy, that tends to be sex. Sex is the sickness. And when it comes to anybody who's a woman or anyone with feminine tendencies, it tends to be that bonding and relationships are the sickness. That is with men. And where coercion comes in, the reason why I feel like people coerce one another in order to get what they want is because A, they don't realize they're sick, and B, they want to keep feeding that sickness. We live in a world where the world tells us that our sickness is our true self and that we will die if we don't feed it. And what it leads to is people getting hurt. It does lead to coercion. It does lead to assault. It does lead to people doing awful, awful things in order to feed that addiction, or in order to feed that fix, or in order to feed that sickness to the point where it overtakes everything that we love. When the love isn't strong enough, when the sickness is stronger than love, when it's stronger than compassion, when it's stronger than empathy. To be caught in the lesser part of yourself it's an insidious thing, and it hurts people so much more than we realize. Like I said, I've had wrong done to me and I've done wrong to others. And although if we really want to have a competition about it, I've had more wrong done to me or worse wrong done to me. I've had worse wrong done to me than the wrong I've done to others. And that, I mean, for me, that's the truth. I'm not just saying that to self-aggrandize, but it doesn't mean that I haven't done any wrong. And I realized the reason why I did that, it was because I was convinced for so long that the sickness in me was me. And that instead of healing the sickness, I had to change who I was. When it comes to women being coerced into sex in particular, or being coerced into anything that they don't want to be a part of, a lot of young women get the wrong advice. They're accused of being fast, easy, and loose, and not taught to value their emotions. They're not taught to value their feelings because it makes it uncomfortable for everybody else to deal with. And it's not just women, it's everybody, it's men as well. People are taught the reason why coercion exists, and that we use that coercion to feed our sickness, and we use bullying to feed our sickness, use fucking manipulation to feed our sickness, steal, lie, do whatever we can to feed our sickness, whatever that sickness is because we're not taught to value our emotions at all. We're not taught to value our spirit. Even in my community, even in the Black community, we talk a lot about having spirituality inside us, but we don't know what that means. Our emotions are the closest link to God. And what do we constantly do? We ignore that in order to do what? In order to fit in order to fit into a society that wants us to look good, but be inwardly corroded. What is it all for? What is it all for? Our emotions are the closest thing to God. Your emotions are telling you when, something is uncomfortable for you, and when you don't want to do something, and when you want to stand your ground, and when you want to get out of a situation. We're taught not to value our feelings. That's the real fucking problem. We're taught not to value our feelings. It's how people get into situations when they're abused. And most importantly, it's how people do the fucking abusing in the first place. Because we're not taught to value our feelings. So we've got abusers walking around here thinking that, coercing people into sex, or coercing people into relationships, or coercing people into a trap situation is okay. And we've got people coerced into it thinking they're the fucking problem. But like I said before, it's a sickness. Whoever we are, regardless, we're all sick. And 9 times out of 10, people emotionally coerce each other, and people manipulate each other in order to keep that sickness going, because they're not ready to heal yet. But the problem is that that's how so many people get hurt. From the womb to the grave, that's how we always end up getting hurt. Because we don't respect our feelings. We don't show those feelings any respect. Because we're not taught to do that. It just breaks my heart. I just don't understand, why human beings can't just do right. Why can't we just do right? I wanted to share one of the stories from one of the people in the comments, but I don't know if I should share that here because it's not my story to share. But it was sad though. Luckily that person got out of that situation. They moved on, they found love, and all that good stuff. I'm happy for them. But it makes me realize, this whole thing makes me realize, it's just, we are so broken as a species. And all of this stuff coming out now about, the different diagnoses and stuff like that. That's just us trying to find a name for all the different ways we have fucked ourselves over the centuries. We're just trying to find a name for all the trauma, not only the present trauma, but the intergenerational trauma that's been carried down throughout the centuries. We're just trying to find names for it. And we're trying to find belonging within finding names for it. ADHD, BPD, fucking PTSD, trauma. That's all it is, trauma. Not even just from what we've gone through now, from previous lives and previous lives and, the bloodlines that we come from. We're carrying all that with us into the future. And the younger the generation is, the more they're carrying. But I am so happy to be in a generation where we're talking about this, and we're talking about how our emotions truly matter. And what it truly means to fill our cup. What it truly means to be human and present, you know. I'm glad that we live in a generation like that. I've got friends who are younger than me, way younger. And they're wiser than I will ever be for the simple reason that they're more emotionally intelligent. And I'm grateful for that. I'm very, very grateful. Because that's the space that I always want to be, always emotionally intelligent. Because it helps me prepare a proper foundation for my life. I think everybody should do that. And sure, it won't lead to as many accomplishments in life, but it will build a happier and more peaceful society. For sure. We really need to put our emotions, we really need to value them and stop judging how we feel. That's another thing that doesn't fucking help. We judge how we feel. You know, we want to give ourselves a pass for the shit that we do, but we don't want to give ourselves a pass for the shit that we feel, which means we do shitty things repeatedly, and we're caught in a cycle of doing shitty things because we judge our emotions. But that relationships thing, that coercion, that sex coercion thing, it stressed me out. But it's just the same as I've been saying. We live in a world that wants us to be inwardly corrupted and outwardly beautiful. Doesn't give us a lot of room for healing. I hope I made sense. But yeah, I gotta go. Bye.